Welcome back to the Adelaide Parklands Race 2 of the Australian GT Championship, currently underway at the moment, and look at the gap. Simonson's really put the pedal down this time.
Yeah, he's got his nose to the grindstone right now and managed to pull a significant gap from Scott Bargwanna. I'm a little surprised at that. Maybe Scott's worn his tyres over the first couple of races and hasn't got anything left, or perhaps he's even decided to settle for second best, but at this point Simonson has this race well and truly in control.
The thing is, though, you can never count Scott Bargwanna out, and Mark Eddy's not all that far behind Scott Bargwanna either, so you've got to keep a very close eye right down to the checkered flag on exactly how this one's going to pan out.
Yeah, but it's always about lap times, it's always about consistency, and Alan is doing that right now. He's just putting in the hard yards, and that's giving him that nice bumper to Scott Bargwanna, who is maintaining that gap. So, you know, maybe there's a little bit of games, and I'm sure you can see from the battle for third position that this is definitely not over yet.
Well, it's actually a change in position. You've got Julian in front of Mark Eddy, then Hector Lester and Ross Lilly. Look at these guys. How good is this? Lester runs wide. Lilly sneaks up the inside, says, "Thank you very much. I'll take that."
Unfortunately, safety car has not come out. They've managed to run that last corner under full course yellow. So good news for race fans. This race continues, even with that stricken car firmly wedged against the wall.
Well, yes, and it's not a nice sight, is it? A Viper up against a concrete wall.
Mind you, I can say that I've seen the back of that Viper enough times in my racing career, so to see it facing that way, well, you know, it's one of those things.
Don't be like that. Simonson out in front and doing a good job at the moment, maintaining the gap, and that's exactly what he's doing in the Cooper's car at the moment, just maintaining the gap. But this is where the real interest is. Look at Ross Lilly. He has really got some momentum going at the moment.
And those guys are just tagging onto the back of John Tulin, using him as the rabbit in front of the dogs, trying to hunt him down and get past him. But that could be the catalyst they need just to get to that next level of lap times.
And it is the battle for the final podium spot, don't forget. It's right up for grabs. John Tulin leading that charge at the moment, but with laps still to go, Mark Eddy, Ross Lilly sitting right behind. This could go anyway.
What a fantastic picture. Ferrari, Lambo, Lambo, Ferrari through turn 8 at Clipsal in Australia. As the move down the inside, John Tulin blocks. That was a nice piece of defensive driving on that occasion.
And back of the Lambo steps out under gas. Well, that's enough to wake up Mark Eddy, I dare say.
Yeah, that's not a thing that you like to do in a Lambo too often, because they can be unpredictable at times, but it just goes to show how hard these boys are pushing for that last podium position.
And how well Mark Eddy's come to terms with the Lamborghini too.
Yeah, the car control under brakes mid-corner on throttle can be very, very difficult on the bumps, and that was a great show of car control.
Well, there's no problems with car control up front. Alan Simonson doing everything he needs to do. He's not moving around, he's not braking too late and doing anything wrong. Scott Bargwanna doing all he can. I think he's probably resigned himself to the fact that second's probably going to be the best that we can achieve in race 2.
Yeah, it doesn't stop him using the curbs though, as you mentioned earlier. Scott is obviously having such a tremendous time. Al's just got out of the throttle a little bit there, and Scott's just closed up a bit, but there's no doubt that Simonson does have this race in control.
Well, you'd be tempted to go up to ask Scott, what does the Lotus brake like, but I think there's probably only about 2 turns on the circuit that he does. He just carries so much corner speed, and that's the experience that you were talking about earlier on, Peter.
But have a look at this battle. I'll get back to that, Grant. Ferrari, Lambo, Lambo, Ferrari again. Tulin is on a charge, and now the Lambos have a look up the inside, and John goes defensive. Perhaps a little early on the defense that time, because the Lambo should get a good run at him up towards the last few corners.
Let's see what he can do. Onto the start-finish straight comes Alan Simonson. Down across the start-finish line, heads off on the final lap. Scott Bargwanna only has one more lap to try and make up that gap, which is almost insurmountable at this stage.
And that battle for third position is really going to hot up in the second half of this particular lap. The boys know that the last step is there for the taking.
And turn 9, you know somebody's going to have a go. It's just a must in motorsport.
Down the inside, they could be 4 wide if they wanted to. The inside line will be the one to take, but it's going to depend on the run they get out of turn 7, and then the balance on the car through turn 8 before that big dive under brakes.
Well, we're getting closer to that part of the circuit. Simonson showing them a clean set of hills at the moment. The number 1 Cooper's car has been dominant in the first race, and very dominant in the second. Here comes Bargwanna down through turn 8, the hard sweeper, and there's not much he can do about this lead.
No, the lead is unsurmountable at this point in time. All that Scott can do is manage to keep it off the walls, keep it off the bumps, and keep it off the curbs, and he'll be there. But this is what we're waiting to see. Third position up for grabs.
Mark Eddy right up under the rear wing of the Ferrari of John Chulin. Chulin goes defensive, Eddy goes even tighter. Let's see what they can do down into turn 9. It's going to be status quo. John Chulin, the Industry Central machine, doing a great job under pressure. Speaking of which, look at this. They've closed right up, but it's all too late. Simonson takes the checkered flag in race 2. Scott Bargwanna hangs on for second spot. John Chulin finishes in third, then Mark Eddy, Ross Lilly, Hector Lester, Andrew Taplin and Dave Stevens rounds out the 8.